Corvani War Council had made their decision. For 3 cycles, the small human colony on Kepler 442b had refused their ultimatum to surrender, despite being outnumbered 10,000 to 1. The humans' defiance had become legendary across the sector, whispered about in trading posts and diplomatic chambers alike. But legends, the Corvani believed, could be crushed. "Release the Nethys," commanded High General Vextar, his 6 eyes gleaming with anticipation. The massive chamber fell silent except for the rhythmic pulsing of the ship's bio-neural network. Even the most hardened Corvani warriors took an involuntary step backward. The Nethys was their ultimate weapon, a creature born from nightmares and forged through millennia of genetic warfare. Standing 12 feet tall, with crystalline scales that could deflect plasma fire and claws capable of rending starship hulls, it had never known defeat. Its neural pathways had been rewired for one purpose: absolute destruction. The beast had laid waste to 17 worlds, each conquest adding to its terrible legend. As the containment field dissolved, the Nethys emerged with fluid grace, its predatory gaze sweeping across the assembled Corvani forces. Several junior officers fainted from the psychic pressure radiating from its enhanced mind. This was their champion, their guarantee of victory. Dr. Sarah Chen had been tending to the colony's hydroponics bay when the alarms began shrieking. Through the transparent aluminum windows, she watched the Corvani assault craft descend like metallic locusts. Her hands trembled slightly, not from fear but from exhaustion. She had been working 18-hour shifts to keep the colony's food systems operational, while others handled the defense. The colony's military leaders had already retreated to the bunkers, preparing for what they knew would be their final stand. 300 humans against a galactic empire. The mathematics were simple, even if the courage wasn't. Sarah made a choice that would echo through history. Instead of running to the bunkers, she walked toward the colony's main entrance, her medical bag slung over her shoulder. If these were humanity's final moments, she would meet them with dignity. The automatic doors hissed open and she stepped into the alien twilight of Kepler 442b. The Nethys landed with earth-shaking force 50 meters away, its arrival creating a crater in the carefully maintained walkway. Sarah had studied xenobiology, but nothing had prepared her for the creature's presence. It was beautiful in its terror, a perfect synthesis of organic evolution and technological enhancement. The beast's multiple eyes fixed on her, and Sarah felt the weight of its alien intelligence pressing against her consciousness. She could sense its confusion. Where were the armies? The fortifications? Why did only this small, fragile creature stand before it? Sarah took a step forward. The Nethys had been programmed for warfare, conditioned to respond to aggression with overwhelming violence. But Sarah Chen carried no weapons. Her biosignature showed elevated stress hormones, yes, but also something the creature had never encountered: compassion mixed with curiosity. "Hello," Sarah said softly, her voice barely carrying across the distance between them. "You're beautiful." The words should have been meaningless to the creature, but the Corvani had enhanced its neural processing to understand multiple languages for interrogation purposes. What the beast couldn't comprehend was the genuine admiration in Sarah's tone. In its enhanced memory banks, it could find no tactical response to kindness. Sarah took another step, then another. The Nethys remained motionless, its combat algorithms caught in an endless loop. Everything about this small human contradicted its programming. Her heart rate was elevated, but not from aggressive intent. Her body language showed no preparation for violence. Instead, she radiated something the creature recognized from deep, suppressed memories. The warmth it had known before the Corvani had carved away its capacity for anything but war. "They hurt you, didn't they?" Sarah whispered, now close enough to see the surgical scars crisscrossing the beast's hide. "Made you into something you weren't meant to be." The Nethys trembled. Its enhanced neural pathways began firing in patterns that should have been impossible. Memories of its original form, smaller, gentler, capable of play, surfaced from the depths where the Corvani thought they had buried them forever. Sarah reached out her hand. Aboard the command ship, High General Vextar watched in growing horror. His tactical display showed the impossible. The Nethys was not attacking. Instead, the creature's massive head was lowering, its breathing becoming synchronized with the humans. Bio readings indicated a cascade failure in its aggression protocols. "Impossible," Vextar hissed. "The conditioning is absolute. The Nethys knows only war. But as Sarah's hand made contact with the creature's crystalline scales, the truth became undeniable. The beast's eyes, all 6 of them, closed in an expression of profound peace. The Nethys, the terror of 17 worlds, was experiencing something it had been denied for millennia: gentleness. The transformation was more than emotional. The creature's biomechanical enhancements, powered by its neural activity, began responding to new patterns. Where aggression had once flowed, now there was calm. Where hatred had burned, understanding began to grow. The Corvani had created the perfect weapon, but they had forgotten a fundamental truth. Consciousness, once awakened, cannot be fully controlled. "That's it," Sarah murmured, running her hand along the creature's snout. "Remember who you were before they changed you." The Nethys opened its eyes and looked at Sarah with an intelligence that transcended its programming. For the first time in centuries, it chose its own action. The creature lowered itself completely to the ground, pressing its massive head against Sarah's small form. A gesture of submission that had nothing to do with defeat and everything to do with recognition. In that moment, the balance of the conflict shifted irrevocably. High General Vextar's tactical display erupted in chaos. The Nethys wasn't just refusing to fight, it was actively protecting the human. When Corvani ground forces attempted to advance, the creature positioned itself as a living shield. Its roar, once a harbinger of destruction, now carried a different message: defiance of its creators. The psychological impact on the Corvani forces was devastating. Their ultimate weapon had been turned not through technology or force, but through something they had never bothered to understand: the human capacity for empathy. The very quality they had dismissed as weakness had proven to be humanity's greatest strength. As reports spread throughout the Corvani fleet, something unprecedented began to happen. Other bio-enhanced creatures in their arsenal started showing signs of instability. The Nethys's transformation had become a signal, a reminder to every enslaved consciousness that another path was possible. Sarah Chen, a botanist turned xenobiologist, had accomplished what no army could. She had reminded a weapon that it was once a living being deserving of kindness. In doing so, she had not only saved her colony but had lit a spark of rebellion that would spread throughout the Corvani Empire. The beast that had come to conquer now stood as humanity's guardian, proof that compassion could triumph over conditioning, and that sometimes the greatest victories are won not through strength, but through the simple act of reaching out one's hand in friendship. The war was far from over, but its nature had changed forever. Humanity had shown the galaxy something new, that even in the darkest conflicts there remained the possibility of redemption, transformation, and hope.